Hello, welcome back to the GamerTime podcast. This is episode number 8.
8.
Could be. Is that right?
8.
Well,
Yeah, I knew this up until about 4 seconds ago when my brain shut down. Yeah, we'll go with that. This week I'm joined by Harrison. Say hello.
Hello.
And by George. Say hello.
Ahoy.
George is a pirate this week and must speak in a pirate voice for the rest of the episode.
No, I just made this decision to just always go with ahoy because I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot of ways you can mess up hello, or at least I didn't think, or I discovered when we started the podcast. Weird inflections that I didn't mean to put on it.
It does make you sound cooler though.
Like it would keep coming out as hello, or like I'm answering the phone, or like I'm asking a question. It was always a bit odd. So, ahoy is
true.
Ahoy, my mateys.
A bit more difficult to mess up.
Is this a fact that I've made up? But didn't they used to say ahoy when they answered the phone?
I think it's what Alexander Graham Bell intended people to answer with. But
It was the original phrase, yeah.
There's a fact for you guys. That's a non-video game related fact that we've just shared. Anyway, this week we're going to talk about the Switch, because that wasn't properly unveiled and has lots of interesting things about it. We're also going to discuss some of our favourite highlights of what things are coming out in 2017. We've all got our own individual picks of what we're really looking forward to, and then we're going to end on a little quiz type thing about The Witcher 3 and some other chat about that. So all good things to look forward to. But we'll kick it off with the Switch. And what do you think, guys? What are your thoughts?
I really like the idea. I wouldn't buy one, but I really like the idea.
I think I'm in the same boat there. Up until the point where they said everything was going to be really expensive for all the parts of it, I was like, yeah, this is really cool. But then I sort of took a step back and reconsidered, and I was like, do I actually enjoy Nintendo games enough to warrant me buying an entire console for it? I don't think I do.
I mean, the price is probably due to the weakness of the pound, due to a certain democratic decision made earlier in the summer.
I guess my thing is we already have the Nintendo 2DS and the Nintendo 3DS. So do we sort of really need the Switch? And my other question would be, as a viewer, is there any Nintendo games that are coming out that would justify a new user actually transferring to the Switch?
Well, I see the
thing
Switch
of it.
Sorry,
go on, George.
Well, I see the Switch as very much a console for the people that wanted a Wii U but just never got one. Because a lot of the announcing games are so you've got Mario Kart Deluxe or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or is it Deluxe? It's just Mario Kart 8 with some bonus features, and Splatoon 2. From what I've seen, is very much Splatoon 1.5, but doesn't sound quite as good from a marketing perspective. So it's sort of lots of the things that you wanted that would be on the Wii U that they kind of bring into the Switch, with the kind of
those
added
things
benefit of new things.
Yeah, those things just make sense to bring to the Switch. Why wouldn't you, sort of thing? This wouldn't. They're built from the same sort of architecture, I assume, from the way Nintendo works, that it was easy enough just to port them or retool them to work on the Switch. And the Switch is so different from a 3DS that if you own a 3DS, why wouldn't you buy a Switch? It's like saying, I own a Vita, why would I buy a PS4? It's a completely different thing. The Switch is sort of because it's a hybrid console. It's the home console and a portable one. But I don't know. I think that Nintendo are sort of over egging the whole home console thing, and that they should be more amping up the fact that it's so portable. Because I think that the best bits from the trailer, I thought, were when you just sort of got it out on the train or the plane or the back of a taxi. Those were pretty cool. Whereas a home console, it has original games on it for like Legend of Zelda and things, but don't think that's how they're gonna get a lot of people to buy it. I think that if they're selling it as a really good it's a console quality handheld device that you can play on the train. They should be selling it as that.
Well, I think a lot will hinge on how good a multimedia device it is, because I think it's not it's not in direct competition with an iPad or like an Android tablet.
It's
but
a different
very
thing,
much,
yeah.
but it is very much occupying the same space in your life. Like if I'm going on the train and I'm taking something with me, it's like, oh, do I take my Switch and to watch perhaps a Netflix show, or do I take my iPad?
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, it's not going to have Netflix and iPlayer
So it doesn't
at
have
launch,
like
but
multimedia
they're
capabilities.
planned in the future. So I don't think that it's going to have them initially, but
Okay.
we'll do it at some point.
I guess it would sort of come down to what the quality of the games are on the Switch, and I agree with you, Nevi, in that they should be advertising this as the best portable device on the market. I mean, we already have consoles. We have the PS4, the new PS4 coming out. We have the new Xbox One coming out, and against those, I mean, it doesn't really have the same benchmark, I guess. So if you sell it as the portable device, that's where you're going to get most of your customers, you would think, at least.
I don't know. Nintendo's always had its own following. It's got its its unique house games that are
That's true.
of a different vibe to anything on the PS4 or Xbox.
Oh, definitely. Nintendo has like the most successful first-party games by far. Like it has games that it just by having Legend of Zelda as like a launch title, pretty much, is going to sell that console like hotcakes. It didn't sell out on Amazon within like the first 24 hours of the pre-order going up. There's no worries that console is going to sell well. Nintendo games are beloved. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's true. I agree on that. Yeah. How
Beloved,
much is the
beloved.
Switch? Like if I was buying it as a user, how much would it cost me out of pocket?
It's like $290, and that's £279, and
yeah, something like that.
an amount of yen greater than 1,000.
Is that cheap? Is that cheaper
Useful
than
fact number one. I think that it's less the console price and more like the accessories and stuff. Like, didn't they say that games are going to be like pretty much £60 a piece?
Yeah, well, it's
and then like
it depends on
new controllers were like £55.
Yeah, the controllers are steep, which is
and that's not even like ones that, and then like the charging station is like £30. Loads of stuff that you like that's normally not quite so expensive is very dear. Because how Nintendo like normally price things a lot closer the other way. It's just I wasn't expecting it, to be honest.
Well, I mean, they've got a lot. I guess they've got. I think it might be because they've got to fit a lot of high-end parts into the Switch, and so they might be selling it very close to, what's the word?
Yeah,
like the profit margin is probably quite small, so they've got to make up for it with.
They've got to make
on
every
the games
product.
Yeah, and I don't, like I said, I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna do really well. I think it's gonna do. It's got loads of really good games coming out on it that already exist that are just known to be good, like Skyrim and other things that are just going to come out on all consoles. So that's just going to do well for it. But then it also has excellent first-party support from like Super Mario Odyssey. It's got Legend of Zelda. There's been games announced for 2018 for it with Fire Emblem. It's going to have all sorts of. It's going to do. It's got plenty of things going for it to say people who don't have like 360, an Xbox One or a PS4 yet, as a good excuse to get a Nintendo Switch if you like, instead of either of those if you don't own one already. Because you can take it with you and it's a home console, and it's got that whole like 2 controllers already basically for lots of multiplayer stuff.
I guess the other thing, sorry to interrupt, Nevi. I guess the other thing, going back to your point before, is that we'll have a lot of these, your exclusives as well. Like the Zelda series will obviously make it sell quite a bit. So yeah, it should do right.
Yeah, and Nintendo, they were quite gracefully bowed out of with the Wii U, and they clearly learned a lot of things from just sort of seeing what's happened with in general with gaming, like the AAA market and stuff. So they picked a good time to come out with the Switch, because if you think of like last year with lots of sequels didn't do very well. I think that'll be the exact opposite for all of the Nintendo related sequels. They'll all do very well, because we haven't seen them in quite a while. Like, because lots of people sort of missed the Wii U generation. The last time they played those was either the Wii or before that, or they've played those sort of titles on the 3DS. Have been able to play them as fully fledged console quality games will be, I think it's going to be the year of Nintendo. I've said this before elsewhere, but yeah, it's going to be the year of Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, speaking on the peripheries, I'm imagining there's going to be like an insanely priced battery pack for the thing, because I was amazed that the battery life isn't that great. I mean, and obviously because it's a console running on a high quality screen running powerful games. But
how long was it? I can't remember.
2 hours. It's 2 to 6 hours depending on the game.
Yeah, 2 hours.
So
too
you're
bad,
not
though,
gonna
really.
So I mean, like, and that's if they're marketing it at potentially 6, but they're specifying 2, it's going to be short.
Yeah. You think of
2 hours is alright though, I guess. Like if you're playing, a high quality game like Skyrim and something, 2 hours is pretty good. You get a lot of stuff done in 2 hours.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you're traveling long distance, that's not a huge amount of time.
No, it's not. But that's when like having a battery pack, like you said, is going to become like you're going to know someone owns a Switch because they have a bag full of batteries. Like 4 or 5 of the buggers.
It'll be like, I imagine it's going to become like, as futuristic as it looks, it's going to end up like a sort of 90s portable console where it's like, look at this portable computer that I'm wearing, and they're just wearing a rucksack that's huge, like car batteries.
There's about like 4 battery packs in there.
Just like plugged into. It's so portable.
But to be fair, you can get like decent sized battery packs that are very small. Like, they're about like a couple of inches long.
Well, I mean, they'll charge your phone, but I don't know if they'll charge your Switch. Like, I mean, you can get like laptop ones that are a bit bigger.
Yeah, I've got one for my laptop, and it's not much bigger, and it charges that fine. So
that's pretty good.
I don't think it should be massively different.
I mean, battery technology's come a really long way. So I mean, you can get quite a lot of charge out of quite a small, like, container unit, I guess. So. Yeah, and it's coming. Is it got USB-C tech in it as well? So it's going to charge quick.
Oh yeah, I think that was that's the. I feel like I think I saw that. Yeah, you can charge it with. I think it does charge with USB-C.
Yeah, so it'll charge quite quickly when it's being used. Anyway, I feel like this is really boring and technical.
Yeah,
let's talk about something else.
Exciting things. What
is
coming
out
like
the
year?
Battery size.
The battery size is so good.
Yeah, who cares, right? You can play games on it. Yeah,
I gotta admit though, just before we switch to something else, talking about the new battery technology, the 3DS does charge pretty quickly though, so it must have similar technology in it, I'm guessing.
I don't think so. The 3DS is quite old now, but it's a lot. It's the size of the battery is a lot smaller. It's drawing on a lot less, so it's going to charge quickly anyway. But the new USB-C apparently fully charges a phone in like 15 minutes or something, and that's full percentage. So it's a lot quicker than it would be otherwise. Gosh, that's really rambly and not good, but you know what I mean. It's even better than that sort of thing. Yeah. And plus the USB-C's, you can use it across loads of different devices. So one cable, and live for days when you just only have to have one cable. Unless you have an Apple thing, in which case, why would you?
Screwed.
Join us next week where we'll discuss the number of screws in the Switch and rank them all by thread density.
And the type of screwdriver you would need to get into it.
Do you need an Allen key or do you need a flat
Torx or hex screw? Which is better?
Oh dear. Yeah, I've bored myself to death there. Right, what else is coming out in 2017 that we're interested in? I'm quite looking forward to Persona 5. That's probably the big highlight of the year for me. It's going to be...
Because I don't know very much about Persona 5, but I remember talking about Persona 4, and that is the Japanese RPG series where every game is quite different. Because the last one was set in a school, I think you remember saying.
Yeah. The last one was set in like a small town where you solve mysteries. It's sort of the Persona series has always been one part sort of life sim where you in Persona 4 you a teenager going to school trying to get through exams and have friends and get like get a job and stuff like that. But also all that's tied to like the personas, which are like your monsters you use in dungeons. So all your social things you were doing is making your dungeon fighting better. And that's the same thing they've brought into Persona 5, except it's an entirely different place. It's a much bigger location, a whole new story. Persona 4 was amazing. One of my favorite games of all time. It has some of the most, the best like little stories in it, and amazing music as well. If you like anything like that, yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to Persona 5. I try to think of what else I can say about it that's.
So it's an RPG, but what sort of RPG is it? Like sort of action, real time combat, or is it turn-based?
No, it's classic turn-based. Where I don't think they've changed the combat system up hugely. It's sort of regular turn-based, but the spin that like the Persona and it's part of the Shin Megami Tensei sort of broader series is where if you do a critical attack or attack that an opponent's weak against, you get like an extra turn. If they do it back to you, you lose a turn, sort of thing. I'm trying to think what else that is semi-unique to them. A lot of your abilities you pay with your health to use them as well, rather than just mana. So that's sort of like the unique-ish bits that they have going for them. But I'm pretty sure it's just going to be regular, sort of classic turn-based, which I'm quite looking forward to because I haven't played a really good classic turn-based game in a while that's been decent. I mean, I played World of Final Fantasy sort of back end of last year, and I've gone back to it a bit recently, but it's not challenging.
That's what put me off a lot of sort of JRPGs. Is I'm not a fan of turn-based sort of RPG combat where you have like your party squares off against their party.
Oh, really? See, I quite like it because I think that it's quite like tactical and there's like a good strategy to it. Whereas one of my main dislikes about Final Fantasy 15 is like it just becomes a button mash. Like there's no strategy in it unless you specifically go on like the wait buy mode, and even then you don't have an awful lot of control over what's actually happening. And I don't find that's interesting. What if I'm gonna just button mash, I might as well just play like a Streets of Rage sort of game, or like just like a hack and slash. There's not the same level of depth. But
I don't know. I always just like I kind of like just like immediate feedback. So it's like press X to swing sword, and it just feels. So it feels nicer about that than. I don't know. I guess it's always personal preference. I guess, but I don't know.
It is.
Like, I always much preferred having direct control of my character and kind of.
I guess it sort of goes back to two games that did this. I think relatively two different sort of controls of this, but you had Dragon Age Origins, which was more turn-based, like what Nevi is saying, and then you had Dragon Age 2, which was more action-based, like you're saying, George. So I guess you can have fans on both sides of the fence, that prefer one. I mean, I know a lot of people like Origins for that turn-based strategy combat because it gives you more control. But I know a lot of people, like Dragon Age 2 because it just feels good. When you hit something with a sword, you get that immediate bloodshed or the feedback or that magic. So, just my 2 cents.
There were people who like Dragon Age 2?
I've had a go.
I
don't know. I didn't love it
sure?
because the combat feels like you're still playing the first one, but not. Like,
I'm defending a losing cause. Yes.
I had a go. I got further than I did with Dragon Age Origins, but
really, oh my gosh, Dragon Age Origins is a clalassic. It's one of the best games of that generation.
I mean, it's not saying a huge amount. I didn't get further. I didn't get super far.
You're missing out. It was like Dragon Age Origins was a really good sort of throwback to classic sort of Baldur's Gate games in the way that it was like a 3D version of that pretty much. Because in that you'd have like a part you fought, it was semi-real time where you issue commands and then things would do stuff. But you could also pause it and then issue specific orders and then let those things happen and then go back to it. But yeah, I feel like that has more. There's more interesting choices in that. than there is in Dragon Age 2, where it's more. You might be having you might get more gore and more immediate sort of killing and stuff, but there's less interesting battles. There's not the same.
Yeah, well, I think because Dragon Age 2 didn't quite cut, it didn't fully get away from the select person to attack person thing. The attacks weren't quite as an immediate feedback. You didn't have as free.
Sort of a mix of two, yeah.
It was kind of a mix of the two, and it kind of just made it feel a bit clunky. But yeah, I went back to play Origins because I was like, I really want to play Inquisition, so I've got to play the first two. And
oh, you really don't
well, it's for and as a result, I have not played the Inquisition, and for the exact same reason, I have not played The Witcher 3, even though I really want to play both of the games. I was like, no, I've got to play the first games.
No, you don't. For The Witcher 3, I'd say there's a benefit to playing the first two because there's actually a progressive story in that. Whereas in Inquisition, characters are mentioned in passing.
Oh, okay.
You maybe meet one or two of them from previous games. It's an entirely different story, and there's no, because you play as a different person in each of the Dragon Age games. There's not that same continuity. You don't need to. Really
okay, because I was thinking it would be like Mass Effect, where you can because it has the carryover save system.
No, it's not. No. It's not the same.
No, it's not at all. They shouldn't even be numbered. They're same games they're in the same universe, but they're basically unrelated. You'll bump into characters from previous games, or you'll hear them mentioned, but never actually. But there's no need to know what happened in previous games. In fact, who really Dragon Age 2? What even really happened in that game?
I was gonna say it boils down to Dragon Age 1 Origins, classic. Dragon Age 2, everyone hates on, and Inquisition, mixed opinion.
Yeah, I see. Inquisition is. I quite like Inquisition. I think Inquisition is good, really good in places, but it falls down because it tries to be too open worldy. It falls into the same category as Assassin's Creed games of there's lots of pointless shit everywhere. I don't feel like I want to do, which really dilutes the good bits of the game.
And speaking of Mass Effect, there's a new Mass Effect coming out this year, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
There is.
Nailed the segue.
Nicely done. So I'm gonna weigh in here, and as someone who isn't a fan of Mass Effect, and just say, yeah, I'm not a fan. Convince me to play this one.
I can't. You
can't.
No, I mean,
fair enough.
I'm looking forward to it because I enjoyed the other ones, but I don't know. I don't have the same levels of hype as I had for Mass Effect 3. I'm like, it's probably gonna be quite fun. I'm probably gonna have quite an enjoyable time playing it.
Well, I can convince you, Nevi, if George can't.
Okay.
So Mass Effect 4 is gonna be simply one of the best games in 2017. Why? Because it's developed by BioWare. And BioWare are a good team. Second? Relatively.
They gave us Dragon Age 2.
Okay.
Dragon Age 3.
They have given us some shit, but they've also given us some good stuff too. So that could be good. But most importantly, they have some great characters. You can't say, right? Okay, the combat may have been crap. Okay, but the characters in each BioWare game have been pretty good. Now, Dragon Age 2 has some interesting, mediocre combat, okay? But where it does shine...
That is true, I will give you that. Dragon Age 2 has some of the most interesting characters, actually, in all of the Dragon Age games, pretty much. Apart from a couple in Inquisition that are really interesting. But, yeah, no, it does have the best characters.
I'm trying to think when they've disappointed us with characters, and they really haven't. I mean, Origins was pretty good because of its characters. Dragon Age 2, pretty good because of its characters, and you had Mass Effect, which, I mean, the main story was something we have seen before in novels and different sort of things. But I think what made it good was that you had these long-lasting characters. You established your character with Lyra, and all the, Garrus in number 1, Mass Effect 1. And then it continued until Mass Effect 3, where basically Lyra is the one that basically works out, the relationship between the Reapers and the Collectors. And then you had Garrus, who basically becomes, the leader of the Turian fleet. So you had these long-lasting relationships, and all the characters in all Mass Effect games were really good. So
Yeah,
Mass
like they
Effect
definitely
4 will be good.
you kind of connect with the characters on the same level that you connect with like a favorite character on a TV show, just because they're just lots of the voice acting in scenes is great.
Fair enough. I see.
I mean, they were able to make a whole DLC purely off like people's love for the characters, which was just I think it was called like the Citadel DLC, and basically you just have a party with your crew before you all go and die, and they just kind of slotted it in because they were like, you know what fans really like? Hanging out with the characters. Go have a party and have fun. And it's just like I think it's just like 15 minutes of dialogue options in which you have a party.
So I played most of Mass Effect 1 and then a good chunk of Mass Effect 2, and I didn't get on with pretty much any of it. So, but I'll tediously, tenuously see if I want to play the new one. I can always rent
I think if
it
you didn't
for a
get
couple
on
of
with
days.
Mass Effect 2, you probably won't get on with 3 or Andromeda, because I mean Mass Effect 2 is probably the high point of the series.
Right. I think maybe I just have a higher standard of like sci-fi fiction than fantasy fiction. Maybe that's my issue.
But I mean, George, I will agree with you that Mass Effect 2 had a high point, but I mean, if we're talking about combat, I would have said Mass Effect 3 probably has better combat, even though it's probably 2 at least has sort of the better story. I thought the story with the Collectives was actually quite sort of interesting. So I mean, yeah, the like the collector base was something that we hadn't seen before, and I think it'll be something different. It won't be the same Reaper, threat we had before. It'll be something different, something new. And for me, I mean, the thing that has always enticed me about space and space travel is always going to new worlds, and we're going to a whole new galaxy here, so there'll be different races, there'll be different planets. I mean, the Mako, which was pretty terrible in number 1, is getting a remake as well. So
I quite enjoyed the Mako number 1. I don't know. I think the Mass Effect 2 was the best because it struck the best balance between all of the elements, like sort of story wise, side mission things, and Mass Effect 3 had the best combat, and I think Mass Effect 1, I don't know,
best story
the best
probably.
Story?
Yeah, best story like as a whole.
But like Mass Effect 2 was the kind of just did everything.
Yeah,
did everything well.
Best.
That's what I'd heard is the Mass Effect 2 was like the high point, which is why only reason why I tried it after like playing the first Mass Effect for 15 hours and just getting bored. But we'll see. Keep this space, and I'll get back to you when it comes out, and if I play it and have my thoughts and feelings towards it. But at the moment, I'm tenuous at best.
Yeah, well, I think it's what's weird is that from the trailers, we're seeing all of the same races and species that we saw before in like cities and stuff, and so I'm interested to see how that works. Seems it's like a new galaxy, so whether you arrive and other people left your galaxy before.
So how much of the story, like how much of the choices from Mass Effect 3 are going to affect this one, and is there going to be any continuity at all, or is it just going to be entirely fresh?
I mean, perhaps. I haven't heard any mention that you can carry over a save, so your choices I don't think will make any difference. But I'm sure there'll be like references to like the generic events of previous games.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure if they do like a sequel sort of thing, then they'll have your your choices from this one carry over to the next one. So it's supposed to be sort of like the Shepard trilogy was, Mass Effect 1 to 3. This will sort of be a new trilogy with this new protagonist. So I'm sure, if you make a decision in this one to, leave a squad mate behind or something, you'll find out in the next one sort of what happened to them and that sort of thing.
Cool. What else are we looking forward to this year? This year. Anything?
George, didn't you have some more things you were looking forward to?
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be a huge release, I don't think, but I'm quite looking forward to a game called Rising Storm 2, which is a sort of asymmetrical multiplayer shooter set in the American War in Vietnam. So one side plays the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese, and the other plays the Americans. It's a sequel to Rising Storm 1, which was an expansion to Red Orchestra 2, which was a sequel to Red Orchestra 1.
What can we expect from the asynchronicity?
Asymmetrical.
What are the differences going to be? What are the major changes between the two factions?
Well, because basically, the game sort of puts a lot of emphasis on realism and it's not the easiest game to master, and it's a little bit sort of there's lots of sort of pedantic details.
Yeah.
There's basic stuff like you don't have, there's no crosshairs. You have to just aim down the gun sight. But other things, there's minimal HUD. I don't think there's any.
Right.
So if you want to check the ammunition in your weapon, you can hold the reload button to literally take the magazine out of your gun, look at it, and then put it back in.
That's cool. I've always thought that was weird. That always just leave half a magazine in.
Yeah, and it'll be like, you have half a magazine remaining.
That's cool.
And it's it's very easy to die. And sort of gun recoil is quite nasty, and weapons aren't super accurate if they're sort of fully automatic.
Yeah.
So you can have one team has access to the entire American military arsenal, from sort of Huey gunships and transport helicopters to, I think, APCs and tanks, and then you've got the kind of guerrilla forces of the Viet Cong, who I think who get access to things like tunnels and traps and things. But it sounds really interesting because it sounds like they're going to be able to get the scale of and have quite really open maps. Because the thing with Red Orchestra 1 was it was very much most of the maps would be kind of thin and rectangular, because they were based around one team attacking and trying to capture all the points in a line, and one team defending.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't super open. Whereas this, I think they want to kind of try and capture the lack of real front lines in the war. So
right.
The American strategy was you would kind of go in, kill lots of people, get out by a helicopter, and they kind of want to do the same thing. So Americans, I think, will spawn kind of off the map, I think, and fly in via helicopter to try and capture kind of control points on the map, rather than having kind of one side of the map being American, one side of the map being Viet Cong.
Yeah.
You'll just have kind of the Americans coming in and trying to capture points in different locations, sort of via helicopter. And
that sounds a lot more interesting than more standard sort of arena shooters.
Yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see if they can pull it off, and if it actually kind of works. I mean, it'll require a lot of sort of team coordination. But there are lots of things that from the developers are saying that it's quite obviously it's really easy for Americans to get places because they've got helicopters, but at the same time they telegraph which point they're attacking, because Viet Cong can just see like helicopters flying to a landing, and they can just set up. It's quite easy for them to set up ambushes and stuff.
That's cool. So what sort of size maps have they been saying it's going to be? How big are we talking? It sounds like it's going to be on how many people?
I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, from the way they describe it, the conflict's going to be quite large.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to. I mean, obviously, it's not an open world game. It's contained.
Yeah.
Maps.
How many people did they said it's going to be?
I'm not sure. I think I know in Rising Storm 1 it was 32 versus 30. No, it would be 64. So it'd be 32 versus 32.
That is quite a lot.
And I'm not sure if they've scaled it down for Rising Storm 2, but I'll have a look.
Yeah, so that would be a lot of people. Yeah. What? Because I'm trying to think. Because that's quite.
I don't know, but it's interesting. Like, so if there's no kind of unlock. I mean, well, there might be unlocks, but in Rising Storm 1, you spawn in. You choose a class. You might be a rifleman, or you'd be a squad leader, and so it'd be your job to. You can give orders to your squad, and you get access to things like smoke grenades, or you can request sort of reconnaissance planes, and you'll have someone playing the overall commander.
Cool. So that sort of sees them. There was another game that was is that just the previous?
I mean, Battlefield 2 and I think they brought it in for Battlefield 4 as well. Had the feature.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. It must be really difficult to pull off and like consistently having someone in.
Yeah,
that role.
I mean, I've been in 1 or 2 games where you have commanders actually using their microphones.
Yeah.
So you don't have the entire team, but you actually have people like giving orders and stuff, and it's very cool to be a part of.
Yeah, no, it sounds really cool.
And because it feels like it's when everything's coordinated, it feels great.
Awesome.
And I'm kind of hoping, and it seems it'll be even more interesting than it was in Rise of Storm 1.
Cool.
I mean, I think with those mechanics, we could see something similar to Titanfall 2, where sort of to an extent it sort of changed the genre a little bit. I mean, this could do the same thing. The different tunnel spawning and stuff like that sounds like it could really shake the formations of the actual genre, which would be really good. Means you won't have those same copy-pasted games anymore, or less of them anyway.
I don't know. I mean, like that's the thing, because it was kind of a sort of niche game. Like it had a sort of like Rise of Storm 1 and the Red Orchestra have like a small and sort of dedicated community. So I don't know if it'll, it won't attract the same sort of attention as big AAA shooters. It's not quite.
Is it a PC game or is it on consoles as well?
Yeah, PC only.
Yeah, I thought so. Sounds like a PC only project, actually.
Well, that's the thing, because I mean, like the controls are a bit finicky, and there's a kind of initially a high learning curve, because it's not. I mean, the Red Orchestra games were not very fast paced. Like there was a lot of face in the like the ground texture, like crawling along.
Yeah.
And then you'd kind of pop your head up, and you'd kind of see gun flashes in the distance, and you'd have a few pot shots. And there was often very little to indicate whether you'd killed someone. Like there were no hit markers or like kill notifications.
Yeah.
Other than there'd be a really little like feed, so it'd be like that would show your username shot other username.
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes you'd just be like firing off into the distance, and it'd be like, George killed, like a little kill icon, the distance at which you killed them, and then. But yeah, and it was very easy to die. Generally, one shot would do it. Sometimes, if you took a sort of an arm shot, or in a sort of non-lethal location, you'd start bleeding out, and your character like begins to black out, and you have to like bandage up yourself.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite slow paced. Because I mean, if you try and move and shoot, you generally don't hit anyone. Just like the gun recoil is quite wild.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Yeah, no, it sounds interesting. I mean, there's not been many shooters that have sort of explored that era either, so it'd be interesting to see what their take on it is. I can't think of any others really that are set in that period. So
Battlefield Viet, wasn't there?
There were a couple of old. Yeah, there was an old. I mean, there was a Battlefield that was, and then the Bad Company 2 expansion, and then Black Ops.
Oh, okay, yeah, prove me wrong. I was like, I can't think of any.
Stuff.
There's hundreds.
And then there were a couple like of old PC titles. Like there was one that explored the whole like psychological aspect of it.
Okay,
I think, or at least from from what I was judging by the cover and the blurb.
There's only been a few though, so.
Then there was. There's like I think it's like global. There was like Desert Storm 2, which are really old games, and I think it was like Global Storm or but there was definitely like a Vietnam Storm game.
Vietnam Storm.
If I've got the titles of that game right.
Fair enough.
Something like that.
What else are we looking forward to in 2017? What else are you looking forward to, Harrison? Give me your top 3 things you're looking forward to.
One of my favorites that I'm looking for is Horizon Zero Dawn. So I've had this on my radar for a while, actually, probably since the tail end of last year when we had the announcement. And it's sort of, imagine sort of Monster Hunter, but sort of with massive dinosaurs, open world, sort of robotic mystery, and trying to figure out sort of where these robotic dinosaurs came from, sort of thing. So it should be really good.
No, it looks really interesting. For a long time, I've been looking for thinking there should be a really good sort of Monster Hunter style console game. 'Cause I know they did one that was on was it the Wii or the Wii U? The Monster Hunter 3 that was cross-play across them, but I don't own either, so I didn't get to play that. But some of the others that I've tried, I've forgotten the name of it now, but there was one that was released that was a bit more arcadey. It didn't have the same sort of grandiose feel that Monster Hunter has, where you everything is terrifying, sort of thing. So that hopefully, Horizon Zero Dawn brings that. We just say actually, that's a stupid name. That's a stupid name. It's like Kingdoms of Amalur.
I don't love it. I don't. It doesn't particularly tell me much about
Yeah.
it.
It's like
Could've
Kingdoms
come
of
up with a better
Amalur.
name.
It reminds me of that sort of what
Well,
are you
actually,
doing
I
here
can't
with the name?
I'm not going to criticize if you're not saying much about the game. It doesn't. I don't think games need to do that.
No, me neither. But it feels like in that sort of way. What's the Horizon
What's the
Zero
hook?
Dawn? What's the is the game series Horizon, and this is the Zero Dawn part of it, or is the whole universe called Horizon Zero Dawn?
Or is it Horizon Zero Dawn?
I don't know. I can't remember where the colon is now, but it just reminds you of that sort of Kingdoms of Amalur sort of world buildinginess of the world is this and that's that. But anyway, that was my monologue on why I don't like the name. Can we talk about something interesting?
I mean, it's lots of mechs and dinosaurs. It gave me what's it called? Is it Ark Survival Evolved?
It gave me that
yes.
vibe too, actually.
Yeah.
No, but
You guys played that? It always looks good.
But it'd be pretty cool, I think, because it's sort of. I'm interested in this character as well. I mean, I think they've crafted quite a good, potentially sort of female lead in this, which will be really good. And I think what is also good about this is that you're back to sort of basic hunter and gathering, sort of once again going back to Monster Hunter sort of style, where you have to gather your actual ammunition. You can't afford to just waste ammunition on trying to take down something. You've got to be really accurate with how you use it. So there'll be sort of critical points on these giant mechs where if you target a leg or something like that, it might blow off and uncover another part of it, which will give you that death blow sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. And the other thing, we haven't heard much about it actually, but I'm sort of intrigued because it's based on a pen and paper RPG, is Cyberpunk 2077. I can't say the name right.
The CG Projekt Red.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Because they haven't released any information on it, but I mean, I saw that the CGI trailer they did a while ago, probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, is that
it really intrigued me.
This year? Yeah, I think
supposedly, yeah.
Is it really? Right.
I think I heard that actually. Yeah. I think it is.
I love CD Projekt Red are great, so I'm anything by them.
I mean, apparently
have my money.
I mean, from what I've sort of read, basically ever since CD Projekt Red stopped working on the new, when they released a new expansion to Witcher 3, the Blood and Wine one, I think it was, all their team has basically been pulled from that. Now it's done and actually commissioned to work on this game, the Cyberpunk game. Just really cool because it's sort of, I've always loved that genre, and it goes back to sort of other games, sort of like Shadowrun Hong Kong and stuff like that, where I think if it's one done by CG Projekt Red, it's going to be a really good quality with voice acting, characters. The world itself is going to be quite good, and I can't wait to see what they do with that sort of sci-fi version of Witcher 3 in a weird way.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see their take on it.
Have they announced? I mean, I'm sure they have. Have they announced the genre that it is? Is it going to be another third-person game, but in a sci-fi setting?
Yeah, I've been trying to. Sorry, Nevi, go.
No, I was just saying. I think they've said it's going to be like an action RPG again, but I could be wrong there.
It's actually a digital puzzle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. It's not going to be like The Witness in Cyberpunk. We've all been working to make line puzzles for the past 4 years. No, I don't think it'll be that.
I think one of the most interesting things I heard, I mean, I think it was early in development, I think, ages ago, but it was to do with one of their sort of game options, I guess you'd call it, where, say you're in a city and you want to get information, like on the different city and how it operates and stuff. There's a lot of different parts, and one of them is sort of language, so obviously if you have a certain language, you'll be able to understand that segment of the city, and so you'll be able to gain information that way, so you can sort of, if you learn Japanese or something, you'll be able to understand that part, and that'll give you access to, you might have a different approach to different missions, which sounds pretty good.
That sounds good. It does sound good.
Will those be languages, I mean, like current languages? They won't be like a futuristic made-up language?
No, current languages, I think, but I'm not too sure.
That's really interesting if you... Because like, as someone that only speaks English... I obviously, will have to be like, okay, well, I need to unlock, from what you described, I'll need to unlock, get unlocks and stuff in order to have it translated from Japanese to English so I can read it. But that's really interesting that some people who are multilingual will be able to just be like, oh, I can read that, or oh, I know what they're saying, and have it actually affect gameplay as opposed to those.
That is cool, actually. That would be really interesting. Cool. Should be interesting that follow that thread.
Yeah, not many games have that where it actually affects the game. I mean, obviously, like if you're, I don't know, like if you buy a game that's in a different language, it's not really affecting the game. It's just you need to get it translated.
Yeah, yeah. It's not the same thing. It's actually affecting how you play rather than...
So like being like, oh, I speak French, so I can hang out in the French Quarter, and I don't need to waste a skill point. Learning to speak French.
Yeah, I mean,
curses! If only I'd paid attention in French class.
In that French class,
be so much better at Cyberpunk 2077. Why didn't they tell me?
See? They should be telling kids this. This is why they should pay attention in French.
So you can play this game.
A public announcement. Yeah, learning French makes you better at video games. I reckon that.
Oh, I bet you know what else? You know what else it's gonna be like? If you learn French, you'll get your thing. But also, if you want to beat the final boss, you're going to need to recall all of your quadratic equations. No!
No, not that time again.
I didn't think I'd actually have to remember them.
But I mean, it's sort of those little touches that really make me intrigued. I mean, that's only the barest of details that I've heard. So if this type of concept applies to sort of every element of the game, I think it'll be one of those games that actually deserves the hype, I guess you can call it.
Yeah. I think it's because it's weird. It's like CD Projekt Red, or pretty much every game they've ever done has like an enormous amount of hype to it, but they've never let you down ever. Like I've never not enjoyed a Witcher game or anything they've ever done.
Don't get hype, be cynical, and then then you'll never be disappointed.
But you can trust them. It's weird. It's weird to think that like you can trust them to like not fuck it up.
Don't trust them. Trust no one.
Like, but Witcher 3. I was looking forward to it and quite a bit, and it by far exceeded my expectations of how good it was going to be. So you should really play it, George. What are you doing with your life?
I want to. I just want to finish The Witcher 2, and I'm stuck in a damn mine with zombies in it. And I keep forgetting to save. And I do really want to play The Witcher 3.
You really should.
Kill those zombies first in the cave, though.
I just want to finish The Witcher 2.
It is worth finishing The Witcher 2.
So I know what's going on.
No, it is worth finishing because stuff gets referenced more than you think, and it helps with like a lot of the side stuff. Like you understand who characters are, because I could imagine that a lot of it would be confusing if this was your first game. Especially you meet other witches, and if you hadn't played other games, you'd be like, "Who are these people? Why do I have a relationship with them? How do they know me?"
Well, I haven't met any other witches in The Witcher 2.
And maybe whereabouts are you? You should do at some point.
I left that swamp region, which sucked.
What act are you in, rather? Is it split into acts?
It's the second act, and I've left, and I've gone to the Oh god, there's so much politics. I've gone to the kingdom that is like a buffer state between. No, that's not it. I mean, like a dwarf city that's on the sort of borders of the region at war.
So you've left the swamp place. Velen's the swampy place.
Yeah.
So
I remember I read up on all the politics and the sort of geopolitical situation of Temeria. No, it's not. Temeria is is one country, right? The geopolitical situation of that whole continent.
Yeah,
I've forgotten it all now.
Temeria's like
and it was really. Oh, and I was like, oh, that's quite interesting because Temeria's the people is the large empire, and then there's a smaller country that is still independent, and you show up and they're fighting someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, this is
why you need to finish it, because it
play
makes
The Witcher 2.
Yeah, if you play The Witcher 3, you'll go to going, why is everyone angry at each other?
Why is everyone angry?
What's happened?
I need to learn French, do my quadratic equations, and then do my homework on The Witcher 2.
Yeah.
And do your homework.
Yeah,
that sounds
what
good,
you're doing. I'll say one last thing that I'm looking forward to 2017, and then we'll do a quiz. I'm really looking forward to Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age. For anybody who hasn't played it, it's the best game to get sort of... You know how when you play games that have other members in your party, you don't control them like as a person, you can't switch to them?
Yeah.
Isn't it really annoying when they just do stupid things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, well, Final Fantasy 12 is the only game, to my knowledge, to let you basically give them 10 if commands. So, if this happens, do that. So that they are immediately not stupid anymore. Like, it has stuff like, up to, I'm pretty sure it's 10. So you can set, like, if you've dropped below 30% health, heal yourself. If you get poisoned, don't be poisoned anymore. Cure yourself. If the enemy does this, cast this. Like, it astounds me that like if I'm playing like Ni no Kuni, like you have no control over them apart from to make them block occasionally, and they just do annoying things. You're like, why are you casting water spells on the water thing? Stop it!
It's not effective.
And, Final Fantasy 12 is. I don't know why people don't like it as much as they should.
For the Fallout 4 companions, if standing in a doorway, move.
Yeah, you're in the doorway.
It's the perfect system for controlling a party when you don't have immediate control of them all the time, because it's semi-real time. All the commands have, you have like an action bar, and when that fills up, you can do things basically. And so everything's all dependent on that happening. So you can run around and move around at the same time. So you can, If you know how in Final Fantasy 13 you had an action bar where you could just do commands and it could sort of automate it. Well, Final Fantasy 12 does that, but in an extent where you can just plan a battle by setting what people are going to do at any given time. Final Fantasy 12 also had a really great thing where you could just sort of like just leave it on and let the party just sort of, because you can set it to your own character as well, so they'll just do things automatically. I remember at school where you just sort of like you just leave it on and they'd run around and they'd sort of like kill stuff and heal up and stuff, and you just come back from school and go, oh, I've got loads of levels, got loads of money now, I can now go and continue with the story. But yeah, no, it's the only game I ever think of that has nailed party combat to an extent where it makes your teammates not really irritating. Like in Final Fantasy 15, the number of times my teammates have been irritating is just like, you're in the way, you move. Why heal yourself?
Teammates aren't actually that bad.
Oh no, some of them can block doors.
Okay, well, I guess still get in the way of doors, but in combat they're fairly competent.
They are actually, to be fair.
I suppose, but
like they use their powers at the right time. And
it's not the same thing from in like 12 where everything has like an elemental weakness, and they'll cast like any like one of 6 different debuffs on you that then you have to react to. If you can just set like them to automatically do things like that. If you know what boss you're going up against, and you know kind of sort of what they're going to be like, sort of maybe they're weak to lightning, so you get them whenever they have enough MP, they cast lightning attacks.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, anyway, it's a really good JRPG. I think that more people should play it.
No.
And Nevi, you forgot.
You might
Nevi,
actually like this one.
Nevi, you forgot to mention the most important fact. It's a game where
What?
you can eat a pizza and not have to do anything while watching the screen.
I suppose that is true. Yeah, it's got a really good story to it. It's a really good story, and it's a combat system that's completely unlike anything you'll have ever played before. It's so different from any other Final Fantasy game and any other RPG. It's sort of semi-open world as well, so it was ahead of its time. 12. Stand by that. Anyway, let's do a quiz, because unless you have anything you want to ask me about 12 or say about 12.
No.
Cool. Right, let's quiz. Right, quick question.
We've already established how much I know about The Witcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on George's boat here. I know a little bit, but not much.
You've not played The Witcher 3, Harris?
I played a little bit, but then I refunded it because my computer didn't run it well.
No, fair enough.
Like literally,
I've
I'd get in, right, and like I think I was running at like 5 frames per second or something. And I tried that opening intro against the beasts or whatever, and his FPS killed it for me a bit. But I played Witcher 2 and 1 as well, so
Fair enough.
Little bits of
I've been
both.
playing it on my PS4 rather than my PC anyway. It just feels easier than having
Yeah.
to like tinker with my computer. Anyway, have you guys ever played Play Your Cards Right?
No.
Right.
No.
Do you know what it is?
No.
no.
Okay, so right, in a pub sometimes you'll have someone come round and they'll have like a pack of cards, and you basically guess higher or lower than the previous cards that they've said, and then you
I
get
don't
to
think
the end
anyone's
and you
ever
win a
come up to me
prize.
with a pack of cards in a pub before.
Never had that happen. It must be maybe it's a
Well, like a stranger approached me in a pub with a pack of
no,
cards.
like someone who like someone from the. Well, maybe it's a northern thing, right? It happens in pubs. Like not
Someone
like a
walks
stranger,
up with a bunch
someone who
of
works in
cards.
the pub is what I meant to say, but like not just like a randomer.
Right.
But yeah, no, you never had that, right? Okay, fair enough.
No, I've no one's ever approached me in a pub with a pack of cards.
You've never
Maybe
I
had
mean,
had it being played in a pub where like someone who works in the pub will play. No, fair enough. Maybe it's a northern thing, and that's on me. That is. But, okay, what I'm going to say is I'm going to give you the name of some trophies that I've gotten from the PlayStation 4 version of The Witcher 3.
Mhm.
You're going to guess whether it's higher or lower than the one I've said before. So
Okay.
I'll give you the baseline, which is Let's Cook, which is learn 12 potions, which is 59%. So 59% of people have learnt 12 potions in The Witcher 3. The next one I'm
I
going to
see,
tell
okay.
you have to guess, is it going to be higher or lower?
Yeah.
And then there'll be a winner at the end. How many have I got? I have 7 of them, so we'll be able to see who can be crowned the champion of this feature that I haven't named. So yes. So Kermorn trained, higher or lower than 59%? What do you think?
Lower.
do we get to confer?
Well, you can either work as a team or try and beat each other, but you can confer.
What do you
Yeah,
reckon,
I'm not going to
George?
make you
Can I
Boring
can I get that
podcasting
name
news.
again?
Kermorn
the name.
trained. So Kermorn is the place where the Witcher school is that Geralt's from.
See, I was thinking like you had trained a person or animal called Kaer Morhen, so
No.
I was already off on the wrong foot.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I imagine the Witcher's already trained. I mean, he's quite old, so,
So higher,
I know
probably.
that he's trained in The Witcher too.
I'm
so-
going higher, yeah.
I would say higher.
So you've both gone higher. You were both wrong. It is in fact lower at 4.7%, because it's actually for doing 10 counterattacks in a row. Which
Oh.
I don't understand why that's so low, but yeah, counterattacks in The Witcher 3 is pretty much you press the block button when just before someone is going to hit you, and then you do a counterattack. You punch them in the face, and then they sort of staggered for a bit. But yeah, apparently that's really low. To be fair, you'll some of these, like the curve on The Witcher 3 is odd. Like for the people who've done sort of some things a lot, but then stuff like that is just very low. But anyway, next one. Armed and dangerous, higher or lower than 4.7%?
I imagine most people have weapons, and I'm going higher.
I'd say armed and dangerous. They're gonna have a whole host of weapons, or training. So I'm gonna go lower. Actually, I'm gonna go the opposite of what I think.
I'm guessing it's like if you have just an X number of weapons, or if you get every weapon type or something to do with inventory acquisitions.
So you're going higher, George, and you're going lower, Harrison.
Yeah, that's correct.
It is in fact higher. This is for getting a full set of Witcher gear. So in The Witcher 3, there's a bunch of sort of what's the word I'm looking for? So there are equips that give you a buff for having however many of them equipped at a certain time. And there are 3 of them, and then 1 DLC one. But yeah, apparently only 18.9% of people have ever had a full set of these, which you get relatively early on. So and they're usually the best equipment for your level. Because you level them up as well. It's weird. Especially considering the next one. Globetrotter, higher or lower than 18.9%?
Higher.
Higher.
You both say higher.
Yeah, that's my final answer.
You are both correct. So this is for getting 100 fast travel points. So yeah, you'd think that because 100 fast travel points, that's roughly sort of at least halfway through the game. You'd thought that they'd at least gotten some Witcher gear by that point, but apparently people have ploughed through it. So yeah. Okay, next one. Lilac and gooseberries, higher or lower than 33.1%?
Oh, I'm going to go lower.
I'm going to go higher.
Obscure.
So it is in fact higher. So this is when you find Yennefer, which is like the first thing you do pretty much, which is at 80.5%, which is really high, because I've played games where the achievement that you get for doing like the first 5 minutes, like half the people who've played the game have got it. So that's quite a good percentage of people who have done sort of the first little bit of the game. Because you have to do like a little tutorial mission and fight a griffin in order to get to it. But I'd say that's within the first hour or two. 20% of people don't do that. I always look at these and go, why do people buy this game and then just not play it?
To be fair though, Yennefer's not bad looking though. She's pretty hot though.
She does the cutscene where where she's like beating up an army. It's pretty cool. Right at the beginning of the game.
Sounds quite impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So at the moment, you're neck and neck. We've got 3 more. Who's gonna win?
Okay, I wasn't keeping score, and I was just thinking, should I have been keeping score? But
I'm keeping score.
Glad someone else.
Yeah, it's my quiz. It's only right that I should have to keep score. bit shit otherwise. I'm trying to do all these questions and not recorded who answered what. Expecting one of you two to do it. Anyway, Fast and Furious, higher or lower than 80.5%?
What was the percentage again, Nevi?
80.5.
Because I assume, like if I imagine the peak will be 80 point something if that's just played start the game basically.
I'll go higher.
Going higher?
Yep.
Are you going lower then, George?
Yeah, I mean how, because if the peak of people just starting the game is 80%, then it's not really going to get higher.
You are indeed correct. So this was 10.3, and this was for winning all the horse races in The Witcher 3, which are worth doing. But when you guys play it eventually, they're worth doing because you get lots of cool stuff for Roach, like saddle and bags and stuff, so that you can hold more things. But yeah, only 10.3 people have done. I think there's 12 races. So
10.3 people.
Yeah, 10.3 people. No, 10.3% of people.
10.3 people. 10.
Yeah, a third of a person. Just an arm did it. Didn't even need the other arm. Number 7. So, card collector, higher or lower than 10.3%?
Higher.
Higher, because
a lot of people like
Gwent.
Gwent.
And
yeah.
I have heard Gwent is very popular.
It's very popular.
So you both gone higher?
Yeah.
Yes.
You were both wrong. is in fact
What?
lower. 2.4%.
Lower.
This is for collecting all of the Gwent cards, though. So people might have liked it and just not collected it. Collected literally every single one. So yeah, 2.4%. Not many people collected every single card.
Did you collect? How many did you collect, Nevi? Gwent.
I didn't collect them all when I first played through it. I'm playing it at the moment now, and I'm playing it through on Deathmarch, and I'm hoping that I've won quite a lot of them. I feel like I've got a much better deck this time than I did last time I was playing it, so I might try and go for them all. Become one of the 2.4, fabled 2.4. So anyway, the final one, and at the moment, George is in the lead. So, Walk the Path, higher or lower than 2.4%?
What's that? Walk the path.
Walked the path. The path.
I'm gonna go lower.
I'm gonna
Purely
go
for the
higher.
reason that I think you're gonna throw us a curveball and be like, couldn't possibly go lower than 2.4%, and then you're gonna sneak in like a 1.1%. So I'm gonna go lower.
And you're going higher, Harrison.
I'm gonna play the meta game.
I'm gonna go higher.
Yeah, George has got me pegged to a T there. Yes, it's 2.3%. This is for finishing the game on Deathmarch mode, and that is what I'm trying to do. I'm playing it through that, so I will become at least part of the 2.3, even if I don't make the 2.4. So yeah, so George won by 2 points there.
Nice job, George.
Terrible to begin with, guys, but you pulled it back towards the end, getting some of them. But yeah,
What do I win?
you win.
More to the point, what do you win when someone comes up to you and does this in a pub?
Oh,
in the
you usually
north?
win like a tenner or something. You win some money. You usually pay a
they
pound.
just give you
and then-
money in pubs in the north.
Well, no, you win the game, obviously. You have to get I think it's 10 in a row, right? Of getting higher or lower. So, yeah. But you pay a pound usually, and then you can win a tenner if you get 10 in a row, right? From higher or lower.
No one's ever done that. I mean, I'm fascinated. And that sounds really interesting. And now I'm just more miffed at pubs in the south. Not only is it a fiver for a pint in London, no one's ever come up to me and gone higher or lower.
George,
Offered me the chance to win money.
you've got to start the tradition, George.
Yeah, well, if you're ever up north, ever near Leeds, I'll take you to the pub and we'll play some playing cards, right?
Just trying to
And
solicit
lose,
a
because
game
I've
of
never
higher
seen anyone
or
win,
lower.
to be fair. But
So
yeah.
now, because I've played higher or lower, but just as a drinking game and with no prospect of winning money.
No. So yeah, you go. You're missing out all these years. Yeah, I don't know what you win. Admiration. There you go. Its value is high. It is what I'm going to say. But yeah, because I like to look at even if I don't really care about getting the actual trophies, I always like to look at the percentage of people who actually get some of them. So,
Yeah, no, it is really interesting. So it was really annoying when you spend. So I spent ages trying to get a really low, like a exclusive achievement on Payday, and then I got it, and then lots of people got it, and I was like, I don't really care anymore. It was really disappointing. I felt special for all of 2 days, and then it jumped up a whole percent because it went from being 1.1% to 2 point something. I was like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because Steam have them, don't they? As well, they have the.
Yeah, they track it.
There you go. See, I could. Don't have to just do PlayStation games anymore. I could do some of those.
We could, because on your profile it tells you can set it so to showcase your the
rarest
most
ones.
exclusive
Yeah,
achievements. So,
yeah, I have that set at the top of mine because I always think it's interesting. At the moment. Oh, what have you guys got for yours? This could be semi-interesting.
I've
Half
got
of mine are Endless
Gnarly,
Legend.
which 0.24% of players have
That is pretty low.
for Killing Floor. I'm not sure what it's for, but
Literally my lowest one is from Endless Legend, which is IP piracy. And I think that's probably just because not many people got that expansion, and it's just for stealing technology of people in Endless Legend.
I've
I think
got that same one.
4
1%.
of mine from that are from that same thing of. Not many
I've
people
got
have it.
Bioshock Infinite Rope-a-Dope, which I'm going to find out what it does.
Rope-a-dope.
In CITC, something in the clouds, which I think was a DLC.
Clouds,
knocked an enemy off the city with undertow, then rescued him, then knocked him off again.
Wow.
There you go.
That's pretty cool, man. So you killed him, then rescued him, then killed him again.
What's the highest one that you have on the 6 achievements?
The highest one is Leisure Suites from City Skylines, which I think is for having a lot of leisure.
Well, I mean, what's the percentage?
Oh, 2%.
Okay, yeah, well, mine's also 2%. I think that's the real test. Is your would be measuring your highest of the 6, because then if you've got a really low,
I think my lowest is 1%. Although it doesn't say any point; it just says 1% when I hover over it. But my most interesting one is from Magica, which is Swedish Summer Achievement for making it rain a lot. That's probably the only interesting one. The rest of them are just ones from expansions that not many people have gotten, apparently. Yeah, mine were less interesting than I thought they might be. So yeah, but I always find it interesting to look at the percentage, especially the ones that are near the beginning of a game, where you're that not many people have got that, especially on PlayStation, where it sort of automatically updates and connects. You wouldn't imagine many people don't have their PlayStation connected to the internet, whereas I can sort of imagine that Steam isn't always connected, and I know it doesn't always update, because I've had it before where it's my Bastion. I played that almost exclusively offline, and then it sort of spottily updated the achievements for it.
Well, it's only 83% of people that have Skyrim on Steam completed Unbound, which I'm pretty sure is just complete the intro.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just because so many people own it but have never played it.
Yeah, it's just weird. To be fair, I say I can't imagine that happening. I've got plenty of games that I've not really ever played, so yeah.
All what's interesting is that there's a 10% drop between Unbound, which is the first mission where you walk out into Skyrim, and then the second most achievement is Blessed, where you have to select a standing stone, which is a sort of perk boost thing.
Yeah.
But they asked there's it's a 10-meter walk from
it's not even that
finishing
far.
that mission to
I love
the standing stones, but 10% of people did not did not go there.
Basically, they're too lazy.
As soon as I looking at that, people just finish the first mission and then just quit the game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in The Witcher 3, I think Lilac and Gooseberries is the highest one. And that's not bad, actually, because that requires about an hour and a half or so of play. Let's say at the least. You'd stretch it out to quite a lot more than that if you wanted to explore a bit, but that's quite good, it's 80.5%. I was quite surprised by the 12 potions one, because that was the first achievement I got on The Witcher 3. Yeah. Learning 12 potions, that's basically you just get those from looting things, usually. And they just appear sort of semi-organically. So it was surprised that only 60% of people had that. But anyway, yeah, I might do another one of those again in the future for something that I'm playing. It just piques my interest. Feel free, guys, to write one and bring it on some weeks.
Yeah, well, I will.
Even buy it from Steam or something. Hello?
Yeah, still here. Just very
quiet.
Yeah, so I pause. I guess we should probably sign off.
Yeah, I was just saying I've got to say, should we wrap up?
Just cut to silence.
Yeah, apparently.
Just cut them.
You say that, but I've got to edit this bloody thing. Anyway, right. Thank you for listening to our semi-rambly podcast this week. I think it's because we've not done it for a while.
It's our first one of 2017, I think.
It is.
But not to fear, the battery cast will be back next week.
Exactly. So bring your screwdrivers and we'll tell you your measurements. It sounded oddly sexual the way I said that. Anyway, thank you for listening to the GamerTime podcast. If you have found us randomly on the internet without the website attached, you can find us at gamertime.co.uk or follow us on Twitter at GamerTimeUK. You can follow me personally at NevadaHM, And you guys are...
At scruffy looking, or at underscore scruffy looking, capital S, capital L.
Yeah,
and Harrison, work in progress still.
Yeah, work in progress. Don't have one of those fancy tag things, but I'm just on the GamerTime website as well, and Facebook is just my name, Harrison Ware. If you want to get in contact with me.
Awesome. Right. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
I wasn't really ready for the goodbye. I was just like, I don't know. I just couldn't. I couldn't commit to it. I was just like, I don't know what to go for. So I was just like, I'll just stay silent. It's more mysterious. Oh.